This is the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4. It is probably one of the most anticipated updates to a marathon running shoe in recent years. And it has seen a complete overhaul from top to bottom with a brand new upper, a new midsole, and a new outsole. But did these changes make this shoe better or worse? Is it possibly the best marathon running shoe of 2024? Well, we're going to talk about all that and a whole lot more, so be sure to stick around. Hey everybody, I'm Tim and this is Run Tall. If you're new here, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad that you are here and you found us on YouTube. Now, before I get into it too far, I want to get a couple of pieces of housekeeping out of the way. I know that your time is valuable, and so if you want to skip around in this video, maybe get to the parts of the video that are most interest to you, I've created chapters to make it easy for you to do that. And then secondly, I did purchase these shoes with my own money. So no one sent me these shoes for the purpose of review. No one's paying me to make the video. No one's telling me what to say. And no one from Adidas has an opportunity to preview my thoughts before I share them with you first here on YouTube. So that out of the way. Now, in order to talk about some of the changes that they've made, I think it's helpful to have a little bit of context as to where these changes came from and why. And so to do that, let's take a look at the Adios Pro 3. Now, this was a shoe that was really difficult for me at first to figure out how to run in. So, and I maintained this love-hate relationship with it. So, absolutely loved the midsole ride in these. Felt fantastic underfoot, but I also hated the upper. Oh my gosh. So, the first time I ran in these, I had some pain points, really where the start of the lace enclosure system is. And it was so painful after my first run that it was difficult for me to wear shoes of any kind after that for a few days. In fact, I ended up wearing my Hoka slides for a little while just because I couldn't stand to have that pressure put on where the shoe had bruised my foot. And the reason that that happened has everything to do with the lacing system that they used. They had loops up in the forefoot of the shoe right at the start of the lace enclosure system. And in order to be able to attach those loops to the upper, they had some extra material that was on the inside. And so when I cinched these down, it created pressure points and it was painful, very, very painful. So much so that I put these shoes aside for a couple of weeks. I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to run in them comfortably right out of the box. But then I tweaked the way that I was lacing up the shoes. Basically, I just didn't use these first two here. So these two looped eyelets, I guess, for a lack of a better description of them. So I left them about as loose as I possibly could and then cinched the rest of the lacing system down in order to be able to lock my foot into the shoe, and that worked. So I went from not being able to run in them at all because of some pain points up here in the forefoot to absolutely loving the ride of these. And I ended up running these into retirement. I have hundreds of miles on these shoes, so much so that I ended up buying a second pair in case I wanted to use them to run a marathon. So it was a bit of a rocky start, but I did eventually get there. I never did fall in love with the upper, but I maintained my love of the midsole ride of these. Now, the other piece, so that was a major issue. And not just for me, but for a lot of runners. But the other issue was the tongue. The tongue was so darn floppy and flimsy that when I'd go to put it on my foot and try to lace these up, the tongue was always bunching up and it just was really difficult and time consuming. I had to basically unlace the shoe, lay that tongue flat, had to finesse it a bit, and then cinch them back up again. So it took a while to get these shoes on my feet and get them laced in a way that was comfortable to run in these. And that's fine if you're only going to run in them for a marathon. But if you wanted to run in these to do a little bit of daily training miles, that was time consuming. It was time out of my day that I would never get back. And so, again, a bit of a love-hate, love relationship with these shoes over time. And so I was so happy when I pulled the Adios Pro 4s out of the box because right away I could see that they made some major changes for me and all for the better. So they completely changed the upper. And that's one of the things I noticed right away. Is, I talked about lace enclosure, and we're going to take a closer look at that in a second, but I want to talk about the material of the upper itself, because with the Adios Pro 3, this material is really coarse to the touch. I mean, to me, it feels like a light grit sandpaper. I mean, it's just really, really coarse, and it never loosened up. I have hundreds of miles on these, and it never really loosened up at all. Still feels kind of that rough texture. These are soft and supple right out of the box. Oh my gosh, it is so nice. They just killed it with the upper material that they used on these shoes. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love these. And the lace enclosure system has seen a complete overhaul as well. Now they call it light lock is what they're calling their lace enclosure system now, but it's really a traditional system that they have here. They didn't try to get cute with any kind of loops or tabs or anything like that. It's just a standard lace enclosure system, but it works. It works so well. So thank you, Adidas, for doing that. It's easy for me to get locked in and secure. Now I have a bit of a narrow foot, and my feet don't typically take up a lot of volume in the shoe. So for me, I did have to cinch the laces down just a little bit, and it did get a little bit of puckering up here at the start of the lace enclosure system especially, but nothing of any concern at all. Very, very comfortable right out of the box. First time that I laced these up. So they just killed it. They just crushed it with the changes that they made, not just to the lace enclosure system, but to the upper material itself. So that is fantastic. Absolutely love it. And they also fixed the tongue. Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it was what I would consider to be an annoyance in the Adios Pro 3, but who needs that? Who needs that kind of an annoyance? And they fixed it. They fixed it. So what they did is they sewed it in. They sewed in the tongue, so it's not going anywhere at all. Makes it so much easier to put these on my feet and a whole lot faster. And it's just awesome. Just absolutely fantastic. Now, they also did something a little bit different here, and they added a little bit of padding on the tongue. But what they did is they have a pass-through for your laces that goes underneath this little strip of padding here. And if you use that, what ends up happening is the laces are really setting directly now across your foot, because there's no material then if you use that pass-through between you and the laces. Now, not a big deal. I used it. I used these, ran in these just as is, and I didn't feel the laces cutting across the top of my midfoot at all. But I could see, and I might change this up a bit. This is just how they came laced to me when I pulled them out of the box. But I think what I might do is to take the laces down at least that far and not use that pass-through, because you don't really need it at all when you're putting these on, because the tongue is now sewed in on both sides, so it's not going anywhere. I don't think I need that, and yeah, so I think I'll just take advantage of the little bit of padding that they have across the tongue and have my laces go over the top of it so that I can use it. So absolutely love it. I love the changes that they made to the tongue there, with just the simple thing of sewing it in makes such a big difference, such a big difference. And then the padding around the heel collar and the tab, of course, there's very, very little padding, but you wouldn't expect to have much in a marathon racing shoe, but it's adequate. It's adequate. And the one thing I did notice, though, is that with the Adios Pro 3, they have this to be, you can probably hear that and might listen to this. Okay, hear how rough that is? Well, I always got the material of my socks was always caking up in there, because that material is so rough. It's almost like a Velcro that would help hold you in place, but it also kind of took a toll on my socks. And you can see I have sock material still stuck on these. Well, they did away with that. It's not rough anymore in that section. It's smooth. It's more traditional. It felt like. This is the best description that I can give there. And love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know. I'm probably going to say that far more than I should in a discussion of shoes. And if we flip up this little ELF tab here, again, you don't have any kind of pull tab or anything, but if you want to use this to help get your shoes on, you can. I don't. I just kind of put my finger in there and use it as a shoe horn. But you could use these to help get your shoes on. And on the back here it says, "This too shall pass." I don't know if you can see that very well in the video, but that's what it says. So they did a nice job. They did a really good job. Not any structure in the heel to speak of, but I don't know of a marathon racing shoe that is a super shoe like this that does have any kind of real structure back here, but you don't need it. You absolutely don't need it at all. And I think it looks fantastic. Now, if you didn't know any better, just at first glance, you'd say this looks like the EVO Pro, right? I mean, it looks a lot like it. And along those lines, so some of the tech from the EVO Pro is in the Adios Pro 4. And I think what they did, at least in my opinion, is they kept the best parts of the Adios Pro 3 and they augmented them with the EVO Pro. And that was so nice. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I was a little bit surprised and maybe even a little disappointed when Adidas brought out the EVO Pro before bringing out the update to the Adios Pro from the 3 to the 4. And that's because the EVO wasn't for me. It was for elite runners, basically only. And the price tag reflected that. The EVO Pro is over $500 US. And you know, that's not affordable for the everyday runner like I am. That's twice as much as the shoe costs. Oh, that's one of the things that I did appreciate. All of the changes that they made, the one thing they didn't change for sure was the price tag. They kept it at $250 US, so I appreciate that. But the EVO Pro, $500, and that's absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. So it made it for just elites only. Now, I get it. You know, they made a shoe that they wanted to see cross the finish line first on marathon race day, and they absolutely did that. That shoe is super lightweight. It's, I don't know, about 40 grams, 50 grams lighter than this shoe. So they did an amazing job with that, but it wasn't for me. So that was my level of disappointment is they have this offering that is just amazing, but it's unattainable. And it still is. I looked, you can't buy the EVO Pro on the Adidas website. Good luck, right? At least you can't here in the US. I've looked several times. Even though they had a high price tag, I was willing to purchase them just to share my thoughts with all of you so that, you know, we could see that new shoe offering together, but it didn't happen because I never could get a pair. I still can't get a pair. I have seen a few odd size come up on StockX, but it was over $600, like $640, $650 US, something like that. So again, the EVO Pro, not for you and me, and it probably won't ever be because of the price tag and because of the scarcity. Even if we wanted to spend our money, it's not available for us to buy. But the good thing was they brought some of that tech into this shoe, and I think they brought the tech that was most important, that made this shoe go from a really good marathon racing shoe with the Adios Pro 3 with some caveats with the upper to a great marathon shoe. And it might very well be the best marathon running shoe of 2024. So it has everything to do with the upper, super comfortable, one of the most comfortable marathon shoe uppers that's out there in my opinion. Easy to lace up, get locked in and secure. But the real magic for me lies in what they've done with the midsole. And the first thing that I noticed, is they moved this rocker back a bit to make this shoe a more aggressive shoe. And that's really what has held me up from using the Adios Pro 3 versus the Alpha Fly. The Alpha Fly has a more aggressive, I think, feel to it to help keep your legs turning over quickly. And while I love the ride of the Adios Pro 3, they didn't seem to be quite as fast for me. They didn't seem to help me flow through my gait as quickly as I would want them to, but the Alpha Fly did. These feel a lot more like the Alpha Fly and maybe a little bit better. So they moved this back. It's at about the 60% mark on the upper or on the midsole. Is where they start that. And when I first took off and started running in these, oh my gosh, it was just like love at first step. It really was, you guys. I'm not kidding. If you like the Adios Pro 3 and you're looking for a slightly faster ride than that, and one that's way more comfortable with the upper, you're going to absolutely love these. So I guess I'm kind of jumping to the conclusion here a little bit before we even get to some of the fun parts. The midsole has a 39 millimeter stack height in the heel, and it's kind of fun. They even have it printed right here in the midsole foam, and then 33 millimeters up into forefoot for a 6 millimeter offset. Feels really comfortable to run in. Again, if you liked the ride of the Adios Pro 3, you're going to love the ride, I think, of the Adios Pro 4 because it's a little bit more aggressive with that rocker design having been moved back a little bit here. The nice thing is, And what's great for us as runners is that they brought in some of that EVO Pro foam and added it in here with that Light Strike Pro foam that they have. And so I'm going to see if I can get a closer up picture of that. But the strip that's through here of the midsole is the EVO Pro foam formulation. So it makes these feel a little bit softer, and with that a new rocker design, it makes them feel a little bit faster. So I'm getting a lot of bounce or pop off the toe when I hit the ground. So absolutely fantastic feeling underfoot. And these are shoes that I think are going to help you carry through to the finish line in a really comfortable and quick fashion. So I'm super excited about these as my next marathon racing shoe. And then so let's flip them over, because they did change the outsole too. Now if we take a look at the Adios Pro 3, you can see that they have basic rubber from heel to toe covering up all of that Light Strike Pro foam. Here what they have is the Continental rubber up here in the toe off area. So you're going to maintain that traction when you toe off, which is a really good thing. But the rest of it is slightly different. It's what they call an Traction outsole material. So it's not a traditional rubber, but it's a slightly different kind of material that they're using here that also has good grip. It also has good grip. And it's lighter than traditional rubber is, so they're able to save a little bit of weight there. And I haven't talked about weight yet, but these are, they went on a diet. They come in on my scales at 7 ounces or 199 grams. So it has lost a little bit of weight from the previous version of the shoe, a little over a half of an ounce. Now they're a little heavier than the EVO Pro. They're probably about half an ounce heavier. So they're falling somewhere in between the EVO Pro and the Adios Pro 3. But fantastic. I always love it when shoes can lose a little bit of weight, but yet maintain their durability and the integrity of the shoe to help carry you through to those latter miles. And I think they did that. I think they did that here. Then embedded within the foam, including that little bit of EVO Pro foam and the Light Strike Pro foam that we saw in the Adios Pro 3, is of course their energy rods. They didn't do anything different with those. They're still the Energy Rods 2.0. And I didn't see any reason for them to change that, because I absolutely loved the ride of the 3s, but they just took it to the next level. Absolutely took it to the next level. All right, you guys, if you haven't guessed it already, I absolutely love the changes that they made to the Adios Pro 4. They gave me everything that I asked for and a whole lot more. All right, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Them.